shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
It's another chilly start out there this morning with 30s in some places, but we are about to start a big warm up. I'll show you when.
Durham County needs a new manager. What we know about the manager's resignation just weeks after she went on paid leave.
Also, more security at Broughton High School in Raleigh after a student was found near campus with a gun.
If you see something, hear something, you have to say something.
And a reminder to students on how crucial it is to report suspicious activity.
Election Day is 1 week away, and a new WRAL poll shows just how close the race is here in North Carolina. We'll break down those results as both presidential campaigns plan to make stops in North Carolina tomorrow. A lot to tell you about here on this Tuesday morning. Hello, everyone. It is 4:31. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Jeff Hogan. Great to have you along here as we get our Tuesday started together. And it is a little bit chilly outside for sure. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We will warm up, though, later this week.
Boy, when we get to Halloween, we're getting close to record highs. It's beautiful outside right now. We are going to see a bit more cloud cover today. Our wind is shifting to southeasterly, southerly. It's going to bring in just a little bit more moisture, so we'll see a bit more cloud cover, but not expecting really to see any rain out of this. It's a chilly start, 48 degrees here in downtown Raleigh, dry, 45 for our dew point, 30s near Roxborough and South Hill, a little bit of patchy frost at 42 in Rocky Mount and in Southern Pines, but low 50s down around Fayetteville and Clinton as you step out the door. Cloud cover forecast anywhere from about 30 to about 50% of the sky covered with clouds, so we would call that partly cloudy, and that's going to be pretty standard through the day today. We'll warm up this afternoon into the low 70s, feeling great, but we do have 80s in our forecast. I'll show you when it's that warm coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. We are just 1 week away from the 2024 presidential election. New this morning, the results of a new WRAL Survey USA poll on the race for president and just how tight the race is in our state. So here are the results. The poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump each receiving 47% support. 2% plan to vote for a third-party candidate, and the remaining 4% are undecided. Breaking down the numbers further, Trump has a 6-point lead among men. Harris has a 7-point lead among women. Harris leads Trump by double digits among voters who consider themselves moderates. Catawba College political scientist Michael Bitzer says it comes down to whose supporters actually show up to vote. And that's why we're seeing both candidates holding big rallies here tomorrow. Harris will be in Raleigh and Trump in Rocky Mount.
The percentage of persuadable undecideds in this state is maybe 1 or 2%. That is typical at this point, a week out from the election. So it is really all about mobilizing and energizing their core voters to get out to vote.
The poll has a credibility interval of 4.1%. The credibility interval is similar to a margin of error, but takes into account more factors and is considered by some pollsters to be a more accurate measure of statistical certainty.
You can go to WRALRightNow.com and see our complete article on the poll results and the race to win North Carolina. And also new today, our Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie digs deeper into the numbers and reveals which block of voters could ultimately decide whether Trump or Harris wins North Carolina. Covering Wake County, meantime, extra security will be in place at Broughton High School today after a student was found with a gun just off campus. WRAL's Nick Perlin joins us live from the school this morning. And Nick, parents are saying this is a good reminder to talk to your kids about school safety.
And Jeff, parents did tell us yesterday that they are relieved nothing bad happened, but obviously you can imagine a lot of people very concerned based on what happened at the school yesterday. Now, I want you to take a look at your screen. This is an email that Broughton High parents received yesterday telling them a gun was found off campus belonging to a student. Now, officers confirmed that they found that gun on a student during first lunch period. Now, today, there will be extra security at the school in order to keep students and staff safe. And parents obviously still have questions about what happened yesterday and what can be done to prevent this going forward. But they say conversations about gun violence is a good start.
You need to look at everything that's out there to the best of their advantage. One solution is not going to be effective.
Now, that student who did bring that gun on campus is facing disciplinary action. Of course, we're going to continue to monitor what happens with that student and the extra security here at Broughton. Live in Raleigh, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
Durham County is looking for a new county manager. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from downtown Durham. And Kelsey, a lot of questions about Kimberly Soul's sudden resignation last night after she had been on paid leave for weeks.
Yes, Renee, Deputy County Manager, or rather Durham County Manager Kimberly Soul won't be returning to her downtown Durham office this morning. The search will begin to find her replacement. So last night, county commissioners unanimously voted to accept her resignation. Soul went on paid leave back in early September. County leaders never said why she went on leave or whether she would return, but sources tell WRAL county staff alleged retaliation. This after they say they voiced concerns about a possible conflict of interest with vendor contracts. Deputy Manager Claudia Hager is stepping into that role for now, so we'll be sure to keep you posted on when there's a permanent replacement. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Durham.
A commuter route in Cary reopened early this morning after a crash involving a dump truck had shut it down for hours. Good Hope Church Road from Morrisville Carpenter Road to Highway 55 was closed after a crash around 1:40 yesterday afternoon. Drivers were redirected as crews worked to repair the traffic signals and lights in that area.
This morning, former President Donald Trump plans to speak from Mar-a-Lago. It comes after a rally in Atlanta last night where Trump challenged Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign ads against him.
But she does ads the exact opposite. Take anything. Oh, Donald Trump will raise taxes. No. I'm the one that's lowering taxes. She's the one that's raising taxes. And I find her worse than Hillary.
Trump also criticized Michelle Obama, calling her nasty. At a rally with Harris over the weekend, the former First Lady slammed Trump for what she called gross incompetence.
Vice President Kamala Harris will deliver her closing argument to the American people tonight from the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. Crews are preparing for that event that's expected to draw more than 20,000 people. The Ellipse is the same site President Donald Trump used at the time he was president for his remarks January 6, 2021, before the U.S. Capitol was stormed. The gates open to the public 3 o'clock this afternoon. The event starts at 7 p.m.
Harris was in Michigan last night hosting a rally in Ann Arbor. She declared that she will win the presidency and pledged to a group of pro-Palestinian protesters that she will end the war in Gaza and free the hostages if she's elected.
On the subject of Gaza, we all want this war to end as soon as possible and get the hostages out, and I will do everything in my power to make it so.
Harris was joined by her running mate, Governor Tim Walz. She had big names rallying on her behalf last night in Pennsylvania. President Barack Obama was joined by Bruce Springsteen and John Legend.
You can use the WRAL voter guide to help make your voting plan. You can enter your address to find a sample ballot and check your voter registration and early voting times and places. Find it all by going to WRAL.com and search vote.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are heading into their bye week on a winning note. The Steelers were tied with the New York Giants late in the third quarter last night when Calvin Austin broke the game open with the 73-yard punt return touchdown. That put the Steelers ahead for good. Austin wasn't done, though. He added another touchdown in the fourth quarter on a pass from Russell Wilson. The Steelers got the win 26-18.
For the first time in 10 years, the American Stroke Association is updating its guidelines for stroke prevention. The unique risk to women that the guidelines highlight.
A year after Friends star Matthew Perry's death from an overdose, his family is opening up about the loss.
Nothing special about us, except for the fact that we had an extremely remarkable and famous family member who went through it. This is a world, it's a hurting world, and it needs some help.
The work they are now doing to help others battle addiction.
And we give you this live look right now. Pinehurst Resort and Country Club, home of the famed #2 course. It'll be a little cloudier today than it was yesterday, a little warmer as well. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tells us which counties in our area stand a chance for maybe a brief shower a little later on.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It's 4:43 and we take a look outside. It's chilly again. 48 in Durham, 48 in Raleigh, 50 degrees in Fayetteville. Probably notice a little bit more cloud cover for today, but we're really not looking at any rain across the area. We're just going to see a flow that comes in off of the ocean today, and that's going to moisten things up a little bit, but not enough to really bring us any showers. A chilly start this morning, 47. One of the coolest that we'll see for the rest of the week, at least the rest of the work week. We're about to start a warm up. You may notice a little bit today, but certainly tomorrow we really get into it, and we'll take a closer look at that coming up. If you're headed out the door for some exercise, temperatures are mostly going to be in the 40s as you're headed out, and really a nice afternoon with high temperatures in the low 70s. Again, just a little bit of cloud cover. We'll take another look at our Halloween forecast coming up.
Your time is 4:44 here in the WRAL Live Center. Good morning. I'm Chris Lovingood. Monitoring this breaking news story from overnight, it looks like Israel has passed 2 laws to restrict the work of a United Nations agency that's providing aid to Gaza. This is an article from the Associated Press, and there's video here from the Gaza Strip. Essentially, the first law would make it illegal to provide that service within Israel, but then the second one would disconnect Israel's diplomatic link to this agency. Israel accuses the agency of engaging in Hamas attacks last year, but the laws don't go into effect right away, and this could further disrupt providing aid to Gaza. The United States, as you know, has been pushing for more aid to people suffering in Gaza, and the WRAL Live Center will monitor what the White House is saying about that this morning.
Ballot drop boxes in Portland, Oregon, and neighboring Vancouver, Washington were set on fire in what authorities believe are connected incidents. This happened early yesterday morning, and police in both cities say this Volvo here was spotted at both scenes. Now, for reference, the 2 locations are about 15 miles away from each other. Officials say an incendiary device was placed inside the boxes. Only 3 were damaged in Portland, but police say hundreds were damaged in Vancouver. Federal authorities, as well as state and local law enforcement, are investigating.
A former detective charged in the Breonna Taylor case says he thought his fellow officers were being executed when he shot 10 times into Taylor's apartment. Brett Hankinson says he fired 5 shots through a sliding glass door during a raid because it sounded like the shooter was moving closer to the door. He then shot 5 times through a bedroom window. In reality, the shots Hankinson was hearing were from his fellow officers, and they shot 32 times after Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, fired a single shot. Walker said he thought he was being robbed.
Investigators are working to figure out what caused a fire at a Motel 6 in Cary. This happened around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon at the motel on Buck Jones Road. 2 people were hurt. According to the fire department, that fire started in the maintenance room. 2 customers were taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation, and 35 other guests were displaced. Today, Steve Bannon will be released from a federal prison in Connecticut. Bannon served a 4-month sentence for contempt of Congress. He defied a subpoena from the House committee that investigated the January 6th Capitol riot. Bannon was the chief White House strategist under former President Donald Trump, and he was one of 2 former Trump aides convicted of defying subpoena orders.
A year after the death of Friends star Matthew Perry, his family is opening up about how they're helping others with addiction. Perry died last year after a fatal ketamine overdose. Little sisters Caitlin, Madeline, and Emily Morrison, mom Suzanne, and stepdad Keith Morrison, who, as you know from Dateline, talked with NBC's Savannah Guthrie. The family has launched the Matthew Perry Foundation of Canada to fund research and post-treatment support for those grappling with addiction. When asked about what they miss about Matthew, this is what his sister Emily had to say.
He would do anything for you. Really, all he ever wanted was to love and to be loved.
5 people have been charged in Perry's death. 3 pleaded guilty, 2 pleaded not guilty, and will stand trial next year.
According to the CDC, more than 600,000 people in the U.S. will have a stroke for the first time this year. There are now new guidelines to help lower a person's risks. These are out for the first time in a decade, and now the guidelines say popular weight loss and diabetes drugs can decrease the risk of stroke in people with diabetes and a high risk of heart disease. Women are also being urged to monitor their blood pressure if they're pregnant or taking birth control. The guidelines also note those using hormones for gender-affirming care may be at a higher risk of stroke and should be monitored as well. This morning, business owners in Durham can get the tools and resources needed to help their business grow at a town hall event. Mayor Leonardo Williams is hosting that event at the North Carolina Central University School of Business on East Lawson Street. The event runs from 8:30 this morning until 2 p.m.
The community of one of the towns hit hardest by Hurricane Helene will gather together for a night of healing. The town of Black Mountain will hold a reflection and remembrance program to recognize the community's loss due to the storm. People will hear from community leaders and enjoy live music, and there will also be a candlelight vigil. The program will be tonight at 6 in the town square. It will also be streamed on the Town of Black Mountain's Facebook page.
4:48 right now is the time on our Tuesday morning. Elizabeth Gardner over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We have some clouds out there throughout the day. Not going to produce much, though.
No, not looking at enough lift in the atmosphere to really produce any rain. If we saw any sprinkles, it might be down around Clinton. It's going to be much closer to the coast than what we'll see around here. But enough moisture streaming in that we'll see some more cloud cover today than we did yesterday. 48 is our temperature heading out the door. You'll notice today the temperatures heading out are really similar to what they were yesterday. I'm going to put the satellite and radar in motion, and you can see a few showers sitting off the coast. Some of those are likely to move just inland here. We're going to see more cloud cover pushing through, but we're not really likely to see any rain around here. So if you're headed out for early voting, again, a little more cloud cover than yesterday, but pleasant temperatures. It's chilly this morning in the 40s, but by lunchtime we make it into the mid 60s and looking at 71 this afternoon for the high temperature. Beautiful pictures keep coming in of our gorgeous fall foliage. It's just starting to turn. So thanks to Michelle Krantz for sending us this one of Falls Lake. So pretty out there. That tree just kind of hanging out in the lake. Go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers, and send us your photos too. This is a look at our current foliage report, and you can see here the orange color shaded area. That's where we have moderate color, really from the triangle area northward. We're still low color from the triangle area southward, but it's coming along. We tend to see our peak, right around this time of year or, into early November. So it's right on schedule. Warmer weather, though, coming back is kind of right on schedule as well. We're going to be a little closer to some record highs at the end of the week for Halloween. But we do tend to see big ups and downs in our temperatures this time of year. You can see more cold air back to the west. That's going to swing in over the weekend. But for Halloween, looking at that high of 80 degrees. 69 is our normal high. And we're going to keep it warm through Friday. And then another front comes through to drop our temperatures back to normal by Saturday. So far, for this October, we've seen 10 days at 80 degrees or hotter. And the average is 6, the record's 17. So we're probably not going to hit that record, but still we're above average in terms of how many 80+ degree days we've seen. Halloween planner with these warm temperatures, 76 at 5 o'clock and 71 degrees at about 8 o'clock. It should be really comfortable. We've seen 80s on Halloween 9 times since 1944. Checking our temperature outlook, it looks like we'll continue to be warm into November, the 3rd through the 7th. We still have a good chance of above normal temperatures. Don't forget this weekend we fall back. Sunset today is at 6:24. But on Sunday, it's at 5:19. Checking out that 7-day forecast, you can see the big warm up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then those temperatures begin to drop. And of course, we'll talk a little bit more about the tropics, still watching a system in the Caribbean.
Elizabeth, thanks. It was a late end to the Carolina Hurricanes game as they took on the Vancouver Canucks. The moment Sebastian Aho sealed the win for the Canes in overtime, keeping up with the team's winning streak.
Plus new video of the annual giant pumpkin boat race in Belgium.